Hey, Rachel, Dennis Feidner, CFO on the go, Sage Business Partner. Second largest Sage 100 partner in the country, actually. So here's, I want to look at estimating because that's kind of everything you had in your notes kind of drove off of what we call estimating and then off of our takeoff screen. So I've got a job here. I don't have a real glazing one, but I'll give you something that's similar and then I'll give you a simple example down the bottom here. So this here is called an assembly, and then these underneath it are the parts that make up the assembly. So the way I usually explain to people, they usually understand it is, this is the recipe and these are the ingredients to make that window. So if I do my takeoff for my plans and I identify 4 foot by 5 foot windows, I enter my quantity in there. I can also use an electronic takeoff tool like PlanSwift to do that as well. But it knows, based on the assembly that we built, that for each window I need 14 feet of 2x4s, 10 feet of 2x12s, one window, 2 hours of a carpenter, and whatever we got here. Getting pretty specific here, 20 feet of random wood, and I need a half a pound of nails. So regardless if this is 330 or 300, it's going to make the calculation to give me my extended quantities. It's going to look in the database for the last price that we paid for those items, and it's going to price it out. And then over here, I get to add overhead and profit rates to come up with the sales price for all those items. And then it just all rolls down to a total down here. It's hard to highlight. Whoops, I did highlight it. To the grid total. So everything on this page is now going to total up to $78,000 worth of cost and a sales price of $108,000. So the same thing. This is just and I'm sure they do these as well. These are the, let me open this up a little bit. This is the, when you walk into the supermarket or whatever, these are those doors that open up, okay? Same thing. I have 6 doors on this thing. I need 4 hours of supervision for each one. I need 12 hours of a technician. I need 1 door assembly, and I need 1 door. So again, whether this is 6, 60, or whatever, it's going to calculate out my quantities. So once I get all those assemblies built that are specific to your client, then yeah, it's just a matter of typing in the assembly number, entering my quantities, and I'll be done with it. And I can roll these into separate bid items. So everybody does it a little differently. Some people put everything on one total, some separate it out. So a lot of flexibility. But here's the cool part. So if I come up here, there's a button that says export. So I would be able to export this budget out. It's going to take all those man hours, women hours, stick it out into my budget so I can manage my labor hours. It's going to allow me to print a proposal. It's going to allow me to identify all of the materials that I need on this job. And if you'll see over here, and I'll just go in here real quick, I've identified specific vendors that I want to buy those materials from. So at this point, if I came in here and say export purchase orders for this job, yes, and no on the subcontractors, and I just want to do the PO for Seamless, and today I will be employee number 2. If I just do this, export that, it says it's complete, and then when it says it is, it really is. If I go to purchase orders and I pop open the last one, you'll see that there's the 4 items I want to buy from them. Those are the quantities, and then there's the total. And so it already knows what job to charge it to. It knows it's a purchase order. It knows who the vendor was. Fills in all this from the default for the vendor. And at that point, I can literally come over here and do a lot of things with it. I can preview it on the screen, which I just did, to make sure it looks okay. I can print it to a piece of paper, kind of old-fashioned, or I can print it to a PDF, or more than likely, most of the time, you're just going to go to your Outlook, create the Outlook. This will already be attached to it, and you'll just select your contact or contacts from your Outlook list, and off it goes to your vendor. So that is the export right directly from the takeoff to a purchase order. The same thing works for subcontracts as well. So all of that stuff can be exported out. In addition, moving all of these items over to the budget, so now I have good budget reports, which is really the basis of our solution. I mean, and I've said this a million, not a million times, but I've said quite a bit, is that almost any system on the market can do accounts payable, accounts receivable, and payroll. Now, not all of them can do certified payroll. We can. Not all of them can do workers' comp reports. We can. But the debits and the credits are pretty much anybody can do. What we add to that is some really good job costing. And if I just go in here, I'm going to pull up an example of just two here that I have that may be useful for your client. And so if I come into here, and doesn't make any difference what these items are, but from my estimate, I had imported this number of hours that I had in my budget. These are the hours that have been processed through payroll. This here is a simple math. It just says I've used some percentage of the available hours. And at this point, I would come in, and it's up to you, weekly or monthly, and say, hey, this item is really 60% complete, and this item is only 20% complete. So I got one good one, one bad one, right? And so at this point, I can see that this item looks like it's going to probably be under by 4 hours. This item here is going to be over by 30 hours. And whether you do that or not, as the job progresses, the best thing is once this job is complete, these are all 100. So now the project managers can see how well they hit their month numbers. And also the more important thing is that the estimator that estimated the job can see how accurate his estimate was as compared to the actual numbers that were performed in the field. So great feedback tool for estimators and project managers and controllers and owners and a lot of other people, but really gives you the feedback on how successful you were on any specific project. There's just a ton of other reports in here. There's 139 cost reports standard in the system. So obviously I cannot show those all to you, but if I was to show you one, I'd probably show you this one here. This is a pretty busy report, but it's really, it works well. It's called our job status report. And so at the top here, I have my contract value. Then I've had 4 change orders that the owners actually signed and approved, sent back. So I now have this contract value of $92,000. These are my items of work down here, and what type it is, what my budget was, what the budget now is for each of those line items with the new change orders, what I spent for the month, and what I spent to date. And this is simple but effective. It looks at these two columns, current budget and total cost, and just projects out the hire. So in this case, we haven't spent anything yet, so it's projected the budget on the first couple items here. On this item down here, we've already spent over the budget, so it puts what we've already spent because we already exceeded the budget. Very simple. I understand, that costs could continue to go. We do that in our forecasting module, not here, but this is a real good snapshot of where we are. And the part that our clients like is that, hey, you know what? I really screwed this item up. I'm 4 times my budget. How could I have possibly done that? I can double click this. I can see which employees were charged, what days they were charged, and the total value of their labor with burden. So everywhere I am, I can drill down to the detail. Same thing here. If I wanted to see this change order because I don't remember it, I literally can just double click that, and it'll take me back to the actual change order with all the details and all the attachments. So you're only a couple mouse clicks always from the detail that backs this up. But what my clients like are 2 things. One is they look at this bottom number, and that's really all they do. They just flip. They don't even look at the beginning. They just flip right to the end. And this number here is forecasting a profit that's close to the what they thought. Then they just go on to the next job. In this case, obviously, it looks like a loss, and so now they'll scroll up to see where those losses are occurring, like I did a little while ago. And in addition, one of the things that they like is that I can also show you. This is really a bad job. We're going to lose $16,000. In addition, I already billed $29,000. I haven't received a penny yet, so I've got also a really poor cash flow on this job as well. So one of the reports that's standard in the system, again, I didn't show you this before, but all the reports can be exported to Excel. So if you want to do something else to them, you can do that. One more highlight. I think I covered pretty much everything on your list, but everything kind of moves around. Everything is really synced together. All these things tie into each other really well. The one thing that Sage 100 has, and they added about 2 years ago, is this Alert Manager. Excuse me. Yes, that's okay. And so the simple one is this one right here. If a job cost exceeds the budget for any cost code, okay, on any job, it's going to send out an email either to the project manager, owner, controller. You specify who that is, but in that example, let's say we had $1,000 for labor to install those 2 doors. The day that labor hits $1,001, somebody's going to get an email telling them that line item's now over budget. In addition, you can customize your own. So if you want a list of all the change orders that are over 30 days old or 5 days old, you get that. If you want to know what employees were hired this month, if there was a request for information that was due back today but it's not back, it's going to give you an email in the morning. POs that were written over a limit that the company set. And you probably use service work too. We have a full work order dispatching module as well. So if you send somebody out, they worked on a work order to repair a window or a door, and it isn't billed, it's going to send you an email saying, hey, you have cost on this work order, but there's no associated billing to it. What do you want to do about it? And so, but it's not somebody running reports and having to worry about looking at the information. It just shows up in your email basket on every morning. And so it works pretty slick. It really does, saves a lot of time. So anyway, I think I covered everything in your little questions there, but full financials, full financials, full accounts receivable, including AIA, progress billings, time and material billings, accounts payable, manages all your subs insurance, payroll, full payroll, including certifieds, multiple jobs in multiple days, not a problem. Project management, pretty much this screen here, change orders, subcontracts, purchase orders, daily field reports, all of those things are included. Equipment management, I'm not sure you're going to need it, so we'll leave that out. Estimating, full scheduling package as well. And like I said, I don't know how much service work your client does, but if they did a considerable amount of service work, we'd probably want to take a look at the work order and dispatching module. It works really well as well. Anyway, that's all I got for you. So give me a call. Let's get something going. Maybe a formal presentation with your with the client, and let them see a little bit more. Please feel free to share this video with anybody you like. There's no confidential information here. So my name's Dennis, company CFO on the go. Sage 100 partner. Phone number is 800-659-5851. And if you enjoyed this video on YouTube, there's 150 plus more on Sage 100 that I've done just like this for other people. And so they cover all kinds of topics. So take a look at those, and maybe something else out there that may be of use for you as well. So anyway, appreciate your time watching this. Thanks.